The other thing prescribed by the board is trip generation, especially on the roadway with demonstrated efficiencies of capacities. There should be sufficient parts. Is maneuvering of vehicles so as not to detriment.
Like I said,
Spectrum of streets.
I'm subject to. Yeah, that's like somebody was joking.
I think you're right.
So
He impersonated it. He impersonated it.
I just thought that was really sloppy work.
It was.
We didn't put the passing lane back in. There isn't. I know, but it's not there.
No, but
What's there's no passing lane.
well, this is here.
Yeah, I took it out.
So really,
Even worse.
actually, whatever was there before is what he's always been.
No, they were all solid. I was like, oh, we can't pass here anymore.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, but I thought you wanted it
Brand
that way.
intersection that we did for the passing lane.
Cutting edges, just like burning them off. The guy's like, I'm done. You got one.
Great.
He wants this one.
Before you get
Not very subtle.
not his.
Yeah.
That's what I recall.
We have the. We don't need to redo. Okay. Did you actually?
Yeah, I agree. Well, that's why I haven't really said a big state, because it's not useful to do it right now.
Cal, can you do this? You do any?
I'm sorry. I drove up the road and I went, are you smoking some weed or drinking when they did that? Al said, you're a jerk. I go, sorry.
Usually he's means with a trust.
Yeah, I just want to read through it.
This Tim, can't take the pressure.
Actually,
He said he was running late, he didn't know if we would make it. I said, well, might as well come late anyway.
I don't have it in mind. This is.
He that last push.
I thought they put the little,
He ran a shovel shit.
like not just crooked, but all center. Yeah, right.
That's right. Okay. All right. 7:30. We closed the public hearing at the last meeting, so we're really just here for an agenda item, correct? And it being the conditions to be conditioning the site, conditioning approval or voting, I should say, voting for approval or disapproval of the project itself. So with that being said, does any of the members, I'll go right down the line, any of the members have they satisfied their questions and concerns from the information that was submitted in regards to, I know one of the things was they wanted to talk to Chief Bennett, and I know we have a letter here from the fire department. Everybody have that in their packet? And Mr. Chase here is from Highway as well. Does anybody have any questions directly for them, or do you want me to just ask them and direct, ask if they can give their opinion of the site?
We can start off. I think we can start off by just asking them their opinion of the site.
Chief Bennett, at the public hearing prior to it closing, there was some contention mainly concerning the traffic.
Yes.
For Dublin Center for the proposed school project.
Yes.
So if you could chime in on your professional opinion on the traffic pattern and why it's designed the way it is.
I can tell you, and Mr. Chase can butt in whenever he feels appropriate to. Fire department isn't represented right now, but we met with the design team. Okay, the design team came to us, we went over all the plans. The way it came forward, all the streets were still existing in the current routes that they are now. It was the consensus of myself, the highway department, and the fire department that we changed the traffic patterns. Many different reasons for doing that, being in the town for over 20 years. We have a problem in that area now the way it is. Okay? I personally, when I was a patrolman, tried to push this new traffic pattern through. And at the time, I met resistance. with this new project coming through, I saw a perfect opportunity to bring this traffic pattern in. We sat down, we expressed our concerns over how the traffic is, how the school's gonna come up, and what's gonna happen with that many kids there and events, okay? I can tell you that going forward with this traffic plan, the inner parts of the roads, so the parts that are on the school sides, on both sides, will eventually be posted no parking all the way up. Okay, so there's only gonna be parking on one side of that road going up and going down. So that's gonna eliminate parking issues that we're gonna have there. We have overflow now for all events, just the way it is. When it comes to Halloween, it's actually gonna help us out with traffic. It's gonna help us out with the trick-or-treaters in the area. That's our major concern. We're gonna have more than enough parking for all that to take place. With the no parking signs going up on the school sides of the roads, it's gonna eliminate when drop-off, because all the drop-off is actually pull-offs. So you're not gonna have that issue. They're all gonna pull off and go. Us being put out a little bit as responding to calls, the school has worked with us in design-wise. We're gonna have a gate out the back, so my units are gonna be able to exit right out the back and head up. And they're gonna be able to go up and head down. So we're gonna be able to respond just as efficiently.
Can
Yes?
you point this out on the chart that you're talking about?
The no parking signs?
The no parking, the traffic flow, the
Okay.
idea that
So we have,
people won't be parking there?
we're gonna have coming down, it's gonna be traffic going up northbound, coming down southbound. There's gonna be, eventually there'll be no parking signs on this side of the road and on this side of the road.
Hey, can you just for the people that are watching on TV, whatever, Chief, are you talking the school side of the road, no parking?
School sides,
Okay,
yes.
the school site itself side,
Yes.
posted no parking.
Chief, Wellington Road is south. South Road is.
South, north, sorry. That's right. South,
What- does that sound like
way,
Templeton
this way.
problem?
Sorry.
Confusing, but-
This way, this way. Yeah. So, yes.
You're definitely in Templeton. We go
Um,
north on South
But
Road.
we all, the fire chief and the highway, all got together, went over the length, the width of the road, having fire trucks come on to the property. It's all designed, perfectly designed for fire trucks to get on and off the property. Plowing, Mr. Chase had one concern about plowing. I believe they addressed that issue with the snow.
Yeah, we had an issue with up around the intersection of Wellington and South. But I talked with Mr. Glick, and we're gonna work that out. There should be, we should have no complications at all.
Was it the issue with the island itself?
It was with the island, yeah, we had discussed,
Yeah.
where are we gonna put the snow up there, because
Because of the island.
currently, right now, we push it all to a residential area, still on town property, but what we're gonna do is,
You have to remove it.
yeah, we'll make it work, I mean,
Yeah.
we'll make it disappear.
Truck traffic, as of right now, the way the road is set up, we normally have TT units coming off of Patriots Road, coming down and trying to take this turn right here,
Yeah.
which is almost impossible. This, when they try to come right here, it's two-way, so we have them facing head-on traffic. This is gonna eliminate this. This is gonna make it easier for trucks to get up to businesses that are up on the other end of South Road. This area right here, this is a blind corner, if you're all aware of that. That is gonna be opened up so the traffic can come up, they're gonna see the intersection, they're gonna be able to pull on. You're not gonna have to worry about traffic coming onto traffic here and being blindsided, and they'll be able to exit up here. We had some concern about congestion. I think this alleviates a lot of the congestion because it's the way the school does it now. They drop off in the back now. We're just gonna stay with that process, and they're gonna come up and they're gonna come down and they can drop off in the front for the other grades. So, I personally, it was my major decision, I was the one pushing this through. I think this is the best traffic pattern for the area. Any questions?
Do you have concerns about traffic exiting, and I won't even begin to try to guess which way is north and south, but I'm gonna say onto Patriots Road, like across from, like people cutting through the church, or onto Patriots Road trying to take a left or a right, is that gonna all back up there?
I don't think it'll back up. It's gonna be no worse than it is now. I don't know how the schools, I don't believe they've established how they're gonna do drop-offs there is gonna be different times.
They're gonna be
where-
staggering the dismissals, I know they talked about
It's
that.
staggering.
Yeah.
We don't have the times, obviously.
Yeah, so the times aren't in yet, but we're not gonna have like a mass exodus of 500 kids. So you're not gonna have that. And as of right now, we don't have too many issues in the morning with the people coming in and out and backing up anywhere as it is right now. So,
Well,
yes.
buses leaving the school after dropping off the kids, pulling out on South Road, when they get to Dudley Road, have to cross over into oncoming traffic in order to make that corner,
Yeah,
if they're going to Route 2A.
they do it now.
They do, right.
Yeah,
It's a bad. I don't think that's a very safe situation.
that's no control we have over those.
Well, there are some things that were proposed to be done earlier, years ago, but.
Yeah, Patriots Road is a state road, so we have no jurisdiction on how they mandate, how they do their roads. We could, if we wanted to as a community, it'd be a town vote or a selectman vote, proposed by the chief, would be to block off this little section so there's no cutoff. That's,
The only troubles with that, because the planning board actually did a study,
Right.
followed through the plan like 10 years ago, and then the Common Improvement Committee kind of just reiterated the same thing. The problem with that, chief, was the fact that it would be hard for them to go west on 2A trailers, low bed trailers, because of the approach to 2A. But
and that's why it's always been left.
that's
there.
why, right, but the whole intersection needs to be reconstructed. But that's not a school problem, it's a town problem.
True, and to get the money for that, we'd have to get on a tip list or
Exactly,
something of that.
exactly, because that was one of the thought processes when we solicited the state when they were gonna stop short on Ballsville Road, and we had to do away with that, we erased that little wing there because it was so hard for the sight line. And that's why it comes to a T now, is because it was the first step of changing that whole
Right.
intersection up there, and that's why that is now the way it is by
Yeah,
the end of
if
Ballsville
you
Road.
see most of the state jobs coming forward, everything comes to a T now. They
Yeah.
get away from any Ys or any.
Because for the longest time, I was trying to look over your shoulder, backwards on Route 2A, and I don't, well, you know more than I do, has there been any accidents there since they did the intersection over? On Ballsville?
Well, you got the
Not counting
occasional car
speeders.
that drives over the grass. Yeah. How they make it through that without popping all the
Yeah,
tires,
yeah.
I don't know, but yeah.
Yeah, I see occasional skid marks. Yeah, that's crazy.
But obviously, are we gonna have some issues when it first starts out? Yes, we are, and we can make adjustments to it. But I believe that this traffic pattern is the best pattern for what we have now. And as issues arise, we'll address them, we'll meet and we'll take care of it. And that's all you can do.
And bearing in mind, we're talking school season in the morning and in the afternoon. It's not like we're running a manufacturing plant in the center of town where there's trucks and cars all day long. It's really for pickup and drop off, and in the summers.
But it also, it helps the businesses in the area because now everyone's gonna park like this. They're gonna pull in, back out, and go. We have issues with trucks dropping off, cars coming this way, and every which way.
The free-for-all.
So,
Do you think
That's good.
that people are gonna go all the way up Wellington Road and come back down to the businesses? I don't think that's likely to
Yes.
happen.
I do.
they will.
If they wanna go to the store, they will.
Well, I don't know, I'd have a serious question about that,
Well,
especially.
there's a lot of one-way streets in other towns and communities, and if you wanna go someplace, you're gonna go there, if that's where you wanna go. It might be an adjustment, but the traffic flow, like the chief said, that I've supported doing this for 15 years, and we've talked about it, police and I, and whatnot, and like you said, just to recap, it's the school project that's gonna help us move this forward. And I believe that if we do have traffic congestion at Dudley Road and 2A, whatnot, the town could at that point take a look at it and redesign it and move the monument and make it a T intersection.
We already have the
We had
plans.
already made arrangements to do
Yeah,
that.
we could fix that in the future, but that's an entirely different problem to what we're trying to correct right now.
Just for clarification on that, Dudley Road is 101, that is a state road, correct?
No, it's a town
It's
road.
okay, that is a town
It's a
road.
numbered road, but it's a town-owned road.
Okay.
Mr. Barnes?
Is it okay if I know you want?
Yep.
I just, up at the end on South Road, are
Yes.
you gonna push the sight lines further up? Because I was just walking up there the other day and walking, you can't see anything down the road. And if you're just turning tight on the property that's there right now, nobody's gonna be able to see, you know, if somebody steps out on the road or anything else. I think,
What instance are you talking about, George?
Wellington and South.
Wellington and South.
Yeah, I just,
Peter, you
I
wanna
don't like
reflect on
that
that?
intersection. I'm comfortable with that amount of traffic going through there, and I'm just wondering if it's gonna be changed in any way that,
Mike, Chief, we'll turn that to the,
Yep.
the engineer. Mr. Chairman, Ron Mueller, who's the traffic engineer, has done all the traffic studies for all the intersections around
Okay.
and has analyzed all the roads. We brought him on tonight to answer any questions that you guys have on traffic.
thanks, Chief.
Yeah, the issue with sightlines at this intersection right now is pretty severe. I mean, if you're coming up Wellington Road and trying to make a left onto South Road, you cannot see this corner. You cannot see it. You have virtually no sightlines. This plan will solve that problem by making this section of South Road one way. So you no longer have to look in this direction. The only direction you have to look at is this direction, which you have plenty of sightlines.
yeah. I mean, now, I don't know what it is about the curvature of the road or something, but you don't see the cars
You
coming
can't
down
see
as
anything,
well.
correct.
You know, even
Correct.
coming down South Road.
Right.
It is, yeah. Okay, that's a big sticking point with a lot of people on the street, so.
Yeah.
And I have one other question
Go
for
ahead.
Chief.
Yes.
The no parking on the school side, I generally agree with, but when you're talking about Halloween, it's a accident waiting to happen, because the majority of the houses are on that side. The kids come out of the houses, cars are parked there, they will run right out in front of cars. Is there any way to, just for that day, switch the sides?
Well, we can temporarily post no parking at
Yeah.
any time.
Well, I
We
just-
do it for the craft fair.
They need parking for the
So-
parents to, you know, go through
Yeah.
and stuff, but I just, over the years, I have, you know, like, encouraged people to come to visit my house not to park in front of the house, just because I see the kids that grab the candy and boom, they're right off the road.
Mhm.
And if they can see, that's good. If there's cars parked all up and down the road, they won't see it.
I'm hoping that, obviously, school's not gonna be in session at that time, and we're gonna have whatever parking there is for the school on the north side is gonna be available, and then you're also gonna have the back side of the school where they're taking the lot from the police station, is gonna be, what, 30 lots? 30 parking spots?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that the residents will park in those two areas on Halloween,
Could you
and
put
then
a
we can
big
go from
sign
there.
up that says,
You're gonna say parking
"Parents,
here,
your
we
kids
could
don't
have-
to be driven to each house."
We could have one of the signs brought up
Yeah.
and say, please park at the school for Halloween.
It's just
So-
huge, huge, huge foot traffic.
Yeah.
I'm always concerned about the kids.
Don't we normally shut off South Road? Like you block it all off, right?
We can't, it's only one way out now.
Well, we would be able to do it for the parade, but I don't see the need for that now because it's gonna be one way. You had two-way traffic coming
I get what
down
you're
with
saying.
cars parked and it was a mess.
yeah.
So,
Okay, the other thing is just for one of my neighbors, down on the corner by Dudley Road, the big house there,
the blue house?
what's happening with their lot? Are you gonna be cutting out quite a bit of their lot to achieve the turn there?
Are you talking to, is it Perkins?
Perkins
Yeah.
House,
Is that Perkins' house?
Yeah,
There,
just the families in Connecticut, so they aren't even.
They've reached out to me, and I've reached out to the building committee and Dr. Casavan, and they are reaching out to Isabel.
Okay, good.
Peter?
Just on that right there, there's about at the widest point is about 10 feet of the corner it's being cut. So what essentially we're doing is taking this radius here, that's very sharp right now, as you know, and just calming it down a little bit, and at the widest point, it's about 10 or 11
Okay,
feet.
I just,
And then
it's
it
one of
tapers
those.
off, so it isn't a very large piece of land that they're losing.
It's
And
one
that
of those
is,
historic houses in town, so
Sure,
to
understood.
damage the lot too bad.
and it is all on town-owned property, all the widening, it doesn't go on any private property, it's all on town property.
Okay. Dennis?
Wellington Road, well, you did an excellent job of repaving it several years ago. However, you did an excellent job of repaving Wellington Road a couple of years ago, but
Thank you.
there are some widths that are only 21 feet wide, and other places it's 24 wide. You managed to save some trees, which I'm grateful for. And some poles, light poles, but they're gonna have to be moved if you're gonna maintain a full 24 or 26 width.
The difference now is that right now it's two-way traffic.
Right,
Now
and it's
gonna
not a lot
become-
of traffic.
Now it's gonna become one lane.
It's gonna become a super
So,
highway.
The road did change width because of some trees that we couldn't take down or shouldn't take down. But for the most part, if I'm not mistaken, Pete, it's, you know, when it becomes one travel lane now, there's plenty of roadway.
Well, if you
And
go,
it's also gonna be a bike lane on the right-hand side traveling south on Wellington. So there's gonna be a bike lane because that's.
and no
what-
parking on both sides then.
No parking on the left.
Right, so
The
if
only
there's
parking
not gonna
that's
be
gonna
enough
be
room
is
for a
to-
bike lane,
I mean, I don't wanna
parking
speak
and
for
a
the
travel
engineers,
lane.
but my understanding is the only parking that's gonna be is, right at the drop-off point by the school. Traveling south from the police station up, there's parking there now. I mean, if somebody has a cookout, they have an overflow of cars, they park on
Right.
the side of the road. That being said, when it's a one-way, there's gonna be ample breakdown area, or, if people still have a family get-together and they need some overflow parking on the street, I don't see it to be I don't think there's no plan to post no parking throughout the whole street, because, remember, it's gonna be a one travel lane now, so
Right.
now it's two, so.
But how wide was the travel lane?
11.
11 feet plus 6 feet for a bike lane?
5.
5 feet?
Chief, question, on the no parking signs, will those be posted for like certain hours? In other words, like during school season from, a lot of times.
We could look at that.
Or that way it would alleviate, but it brought up a good point as far as people have barbecues, family barbecues, whatnot. in the
I'd like to
street.
see how everything is going at first.
Try to structure it with that in mind, maybe.
That's why
That's
there's
a good point,
gonna
yeah.
be, is it 6 months for,
I
6
think it was
months
a
we put on there?
3-month.
Kind of a test trial to get everybody used to the flow.
Because you could always do it,
monitor
weekdays or whatever, you know what I mean?
We can
Because
monitor it and
I
watch it
understand
and
that.
see what adjustments we have to make for signage, and, there's gonna be different striping in the road now.
Yeah.
It's all gonna be striped differently, so there'll be, a travel lane striped out to designate that's the travel lane, and then you got your bike lane on the right-hand side, and, of course, nobody will be parking on I can't see anybody parking on the left-hand side of that road, even for a cookout. They'd probably park on the right-hand side.
They would park on the
because that's-
right-hand side, but
even though it's a one-way street, but, on one-way street, people do park on both sides.
no sidewalk either.
No sidewalk plan, no.
Kids
we-
walking up there?
Well, we had talked about, when we first started planning this, we talked about a program called Complete Streets 102, and that was to see if we could get some state funding to possibly put a sidewalk up along that section up there, so if, pedestrians choose to walk up to South Road, they could walk back down if they're looking to make a loop. It's kind of talked about, it's not a dead issue, it's something that could be done in the future, but as it stands right now, no sidewalk. To answer your question.
Mr. Barnes?
My vote is in favor of eliminating the bike lane and putting the sidewalks in, because we get a lot more kids on foot than we ever get on bikes. Get a few kids on skateboards, but majority are on foot.
I guess
I know it costs a lot more though.
we're bound by the bike lanes, right?
Well, the Mass DOT, would like to see bike lanes, they're incorporating bike lanes on in many communities, to give that opportunity. But a bike lane can also be used as a pedestrian walkway too. So you got the best of both worlds. I'd rather see somebody walking in a bike lane as to be walking on a sidewalk and a bike tries to go by them on a sidewalk. So I guess there's no real fix for that.
For the most part, except for schools and such, there won't be a lot of
But the
issue with
town,
bikes riding.
Wellington Road, believe it or not, the town owns, it's a big right-of-way through their left and right side. So, in the future, if it looks like that, a sidewalk, improvements in the future, you know, I mean, we move forward in town here, a sidewalk can be added at any time in the future after this project is done and completed, if there's a big need for it, you know.
Well, knowing that you can actually take all the way up to my front porch, that's okay, everything's fine. We don't have
I was very surprised to
That's
see
where the
we're
sidewalk's going.
In front of your house.
That's why my stone wall that I built is
Yeah.
where it is,
We
because
actually
it's
have a
outside.
very large right-of-way through there, surprisingly large.
All right, thanks, bud. Frank?
Yeah, I think everybody's guaranteed it's going to work. The only problem I got is the numbers, to me, don't add up. When you've got 200 kids, maybe 185, use round numbers, 200 kids going to Templeton Center School, and now you're going to put 500 kids there, and it's not going to affect nothing, I have a hard time believing that. I mean, of cars, traffic, drop-off, everything included. You're talking 300%. It's not going to do nothing. You can make it work with a little bit of paint and a couple signs. I think you're going to be looking for a serious problem. I hope not, but the numbers just tell me that we're in a serious problem.
One thing that's gonna go away, just bear in mind, is that the children that walk in Ballinville will no longer walk in Ballinville and have to cross all those major
That's not that,
roadways.
you didn't get me. That's not the
No,
point.
no, I heard what you said,
I'm
but
not
we're
talking
moving it
about,
all up to Templeton now, so
that's
it's.
not the point is the car traffic we're talking about. The kids are not gonna walk from Bonneville to Templeton.
Oh, they're
We're
gonna be
talking
bused.
the car traffic, not the kids walking. We're talking cars drop off, pick up, special events. You got a small area for 300% more kids. Not the walking, they're not gonna walk. That is my concern. I mean, I would like to see it work, but if you got a place here, you got 200 people, and you're gonna put 500,
Just on that, Mr. Mission, the buses, as I mentioned before, there's 7 buses that are in about, right now, about 70, between 70 and 75% of the first through, kindergarten through 4th grade will take buses. And right now, the 5th grade has about 60%. There's a little less than the buses in the 6th grade. We suspect that's because the 6th grade is in the middle school. More parents want to drop the kids off there because they're with the bigger kids. But if we get all 70, 75, and hopefully we can get up to around 80% of the kids take the bus, then you don't have that crunch of people and the 3 times the amount of cars that you have out there. And then what we've talked about and what the school's working on is a plan to stagger the times so you don't get the pickups and the drop-offs all at the same time.
well, to answer those questions, you say 80% will take the buses. What if it goes the other way around? Now what's gonna happen? Or, in Gardner, for a number of years, John knows, they stopped busing for financial. What if they say, no more buses in Templeton, we can't afford it? I mean, there's some issues which you gotta look beyond your nose.
Mr. Chairman, if I may. That's the whole reason we did a full-blown traffic impact and access study for this project, looking at all of the surrounding streets and intersections that will be affected by this project. In the study, we made some very conservative assumptions, like, for example, we assumed 620 kids as opposed to the 580 maximum capacity for the school that is now being designed. We also assumed that there wouldn't be any more buses than there are now. So combined all of that, what the study shows is that traffic can still be accommodated on all of these surrounding streets and intersections.
Even without buses?
Even without the buses, correct, and at acceptable levels of service.
Like A's, B's, and C's, it's like a C, right?
C is like the worst level of service that we got at any one intersection.
If it don't work,
Well, that's what we do the study for, to make sure that it does.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify with you what, kind of how this is proceeding, because this is a meeting, it's not really a public hearing. Do we want to really get into asking the same? I mean, Frank asked that question, and I asked that question at both of the last public hearings. We got the same exact answer at both the last public hearings. It's not new information. So I don't know how you want to run things, but I don't know if we want to go through and ask the same questions over.
This is, the public hearing is closed. We're not introducing any more information. It's really, we're getting answers to all the questions from the people that designed it. I don't know what more we can do. The board voted not to bring on a third peer review, a second peer review. We felt more than confident in our peer review agent of Whitman being on, which Wes was just here. So we're gonna act with what we have in front of us. And with that being said, Diane, you had a question?
I just wanted to make, I'm sorry,
Or
I
a
can't see you,
statement?
Frank. I just wanted to make a point of clarification that this is a regionalized school district, because I've asked those questions also. I asked if parents could pay for busing. Because we're regionalized, we can't. We're regionalized. We have to provide busing. Have to. That's what the answer that I got. So unless we de-regionalize, that's not going to change.
The parents
That's
don't
in
have
our
to
regional agreement.
take it.
Are we not part of the Narragansett Regional School District?
That's what I'm saying. Frank said, what if we don't have busing anymore? Like Gardner was able to do that because they're not regionalized.
Oh,
That's,
I see.
But we have to provide busing.
Because it's regional.
We have.
But isn't the state supposed to also offer some subsidy for that?
And they do. I'm not going to get into that. I just wanted a point of clarification, but until we choose not to be, we have to provide busing. So that's not going to change anytime in the future.
If I may,
Go ahead, sir.
I have to tell you, I would have to go back into the DESI regs, because I was there when they only bused 6 to K, or K to 6, depending on how you look at it. There is a regulation, I'm almost tempted to say that you must bus children between the grades of kindergarten and 5th grade. But again, going back into this scenario, I would need to go back into this. It's been a long time since I've had to look into the transportation law. But your point is well taken, Ms. Machete, and I think that right now at the middle high school, we're going to have close to, with the addition of our new friends, the kindergarten and first graders, roughly around 200 of them. Roughly, we're going to have around 500-600 kids. They're going to be ebbing and flowing out of that building. Now, what helps is that they're on 2 very different schedules. Obviously, there's the middle high school schedule, and of course, there's what we'll call the elementary schedule. But that's still a lot of traffic through, and I will be very candid that many folks pick up and drop off their kindergarten and first grader, or we fully expect that to happen, especially. So I think with the idea of the staggered time, which we're kind of seeing in motion now, or we will, first day of school, is that these people come in and go pretty quickly. So in the event of some type of busing, catastrophe, and a lot of folks do have to be picked up, the stagger schedule will, in fact, help greatly. I mean, they'll come and they'll go, because that's what they're there to do. They're there to drop off, and they just, trust me, they almost go too quickly. I mean, they've got work to do, or they've got to get places. So again, I don't know if that helps, but I think that that's certainly something that we thought about, and we'll actually see in real time come up here very quickly.
Mr. Barnes?
I just want to ask a stupid question. Is there any way that you can require that parents use the buses, or assess a user fee for parents who don't use the buses? I mean, we assess user fees for all these things, and this pick-up and drop-off is actually a benefit that these parents are getting.
Can't force them.
So in terms of making them use the bus, no. It's a right. I mean, obviously, they can bring their child to school or pick up their child in any fashion. There are districts who levy a mandatory fee, but of course that goes through the school committee process. Being a regional, it certainly does complicate things. And I guess I would tentatively say no, that wouldn't be possibly in this situation.
It would certainly encourage them to consider the buses. I mean, that's what we really want to do, because we don't want, like Frank said, what if it was 80% that started bringing their kids because they can all do it? And that's, in any way we can encourage them not to, would be a good thing.
Which would be all the reason to, of course, not have a fee to bus. Because if you charge someone to bus, that is going to certainly...
No. I meant charge people who didn't take the bus and bring their kids in. I think that's a pretty reasonable fee, because they're using that drop-off point as a benefit to them that isn't necessary. So why not? I mean, that's just I know I'm just looking for a way to reduce that traffic, because I am right across from the school. I know what it's going to be like.
And I do understand that, but to the point, I think it's been made. I think that if those are all the options that we have available to us, let's see how it works.
Yeah, wouldn't you think, in my opinion, wouldn't you think that it becomes so troublesome, and we know we're gonna have issues up there, I think they can be resolved. But if it becomes such a bother where you have such a hard time bringing Timmy and Susie to school every day, don't you think maybe you might wanna put your own kids on the bus to make your life a little easier too? So maybe these horrific stories that aren't gonna happen are gonna work themselves out, because it's gonna do what's convenient for them. That's why everybody always circles the front of Walmart looking for that perfect spot every time, right? We all do it, right? It doesn't happen. I just park in the back, get them over quick. But to me, it's just like if it was a half-hour job, because all this traffic that Frank talks about is up there, I think you're gonna iron out your own problems and say, this is ridiculous, I gotta find a better way. How about let my kid take the bus because it's offered?
So Mr. Michelli's point exactly. So when the 6th grade and below were only getting bused, people were forced to drive their children to school. And so when that happened, the traffic was,
Right.
I can't begin to tell you, and it was not set up as well as it's set up here. At the Gardner Middle School, I will
It's
tell you.
one way down.
It's one way in and it's very narrow. They did not expect that much traffic. When busing came back, we saw a huge uptick in busing, of course, because it made, of course, if you've been driving your child
The
to school
reality
for
slap.
3 years or 2 years, that bus was the best thing that's ever happened to you. So I think that, to the point is that, you're right. If you're sitting there waiting for a very long time, you're certainly
gonna
gonna,
find
and we have the capacity to bus, of course, the children in easy bus.
Right. Dennis?
I don't believe you're gonna ever see that, because a lot of these parents have jobs. They'll either drop the kid, have the kids, they have to make arrangements for these kids to get on the bus to go to school, because they have a job too, so they're not gonna run to school with all these kids, because they've got other things to do.
I think if that happens, what we're gonna find is a lot of parents will drop their kids off on the common and let them walk across the street to the school.
Now, that is something that can be enforced.
Huh?
Given the age of the children, I would, of course,
should
defer to the
not.
chief.
They're
And
not.
certainly,
They're not.
I will tell you as the superintendent, that's something that we,
Wow.
and I say that kind of loosely, if we saw children at the ages of 6 and 7 or 8 being let off, given the intersections that we have, that's something that we can address on a lot of fronts. I'm just
A lot
simply
of
saying,
parents
I mean,
have-
I know, I would certainly hate to see that.
Well, parents who have to go to work are gonna wanna get out of there as quickly as possible. They're not gonna wanna
Right.
travel all the way up.
Right, so put them on the bus. That's what we're getting at.
Well,
Yeah.
You're talking all about all these
a
great
lot of-
parents who are gonna sit in traffic for an hour to drop their kid off at school. I don't see it happening. It's not gonna happen. They're gonna have a 10-minute window to drop them off, and if that 10 minutes turns to 20 minutes, they're gonna find a solution that works for themselves. I mean, what would you guys do? Put yourself in their shoes. Are you gonna make your life so inconvenient that it's ridiculous bringing your kid to school, or are you gonna put them on the bus that drives by the front of your house? It's a common sense thing, and hopefully the people with common sense are gonna put their kids on the bus if it's that inconvenient for them.
Most of the kids like to ride the bus.
So, with that being said, with the mass exodus of cars in the common, is there anything else that's sticking out the board that
I
needs to be addressed with?
I have a
the whole
couple of
crowd?
other questions that aren't related to the traffic. We haven't really talked much about deliveries being made to the school.
Wait a minute, Dennis. Public hearing is closed. We've already brought that up, the deliveries. We're actually, the traffic thing was the biggest thing that we brought up last week and invited the studies or the people back. We're not reopening the public hearing right now. I don't care what color the tile is in there, I don't care where the sidewalks are right now, I don't care where the grass is. That's already been, it's done. That's past us right now. Right now, we are here to vote on this project as a whole, as submitted with the information that you have in front of you. The only reason why we brought the traffic up is because that was the biggest contention last week or at our last meeting as far as the answers and the people that are gonna give the answers, and that's why we're here. You asked for the police chief, he's here. Welcome back from vacation from what I hear. Thank you. And Bud's here, and we have a letter from the fire department. Those are the three major issues, they're in front of you. Whether you wanna agree to disagree, these are the people that work for the community, and they've stated their case and given their opinion that you asked for. So, with that being said, this board needs to, lack of a better term, man up and vote. So I will entertain a motion to vote this school project.
I want to make, are you going to exempt yourself from the vote because you sit on both committees?
I haven't really decided yet.
I think
We have
you
to
have-
decide before
I don't think you have any choice. I think you have to.
I'll worry
It'd be a
about the ethics
conflict.
committee, I'll worry about the ethics myself. I'm a chairman of both committees, but I also, hang on, let me talk. It's a non-paid, I have no skin in the game. My youngest kid is in college, okay? I don't see any conflict here, whether I'm pro-school, against the school. I'm actually pro-school. My vote is for the project. I think this town has kicked this project, this can too long down the road. Everybody seems to have the best slot and a better location, a great idea now. Well, guess what? You know, they're bringing a knife to a gunfight. Way too long. You guys, it's passé. We're gonna vote this thing. We're gonna vote it now. Don't worry about what I do. Worry about you do. I'm comfortable with my vote.
All right. Well, at least, I think you should show on the record at least that you either are or are not exempting
Yeah,
yourself.
I mean, I would
I think-
respectfully agree. I mean, because you did make a comment, like, is there, I forget how you worded it, but
I made it perfectly clear during the public hearing process that I chaired both committees.
So you're
I was
not
cha-
going to vote?
No, that I was chairman of both committees. And during the hearing process, I said I was gonna be here in the planning board.
That's different than sitting here at the table voting, though.
What's that?
That's different than sitting here and voting.
I'll tell you what, I'll deal with the ethics commission after this vote if need be, okay? Because right now, I have just as much right to vote or abstain when the time comes. So if somebody makes a motion, you worry about yourself and I'll worry about myself with all due respect.
Okay.
Is anybody got a motion to vote this project?
You don't have to make a motion.
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we vote this project.
Are you making a motion to accept the project? You have to make, you have to be one way, you have to,
I
you have
make
to
a
mention.
motion that we accept this project.
Okay. Do I hear a second? I'll second it. Motion been made and seconded to accept this project. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none? All in favor? All opposed?
You vote for the, I'm not getting mixed up now.
We just voted for
We accepted the motion. No, we didn't.
We're voting on the actual
accept the
motion
motion?
to whether or
Listen,
not that we're gonna
let's-
pass the school. Sorry.
Start over. John made a motion to accept the project. I seconded it. Can we vote that again, Franklin, here, for clarity?
Okay, so now we're voting on the project.
Okay, all in favor of the project, please state by saying aye, raise your hands. Aye. All opposed?
How can,
Okay.
I can't understand how the whole town can vote on a project.
And you
this-
can vote it
And then you
down?
just say,
Yeah.
no,
So,
after all
I
of
don't
these
believe-
years
I don't
of hard
believe
work.
this.
so just for the record, don't worry about me and the Ethics Commission, okay?
I just can't believe
I
that you
can't
people-
believe this.
The whole town voted for this project, and you guys are voting it down. I cannot believe
Why
that.
wasn't this not brought up when we started this project?
Why didn't you say something then?
Why wasn't it started then?
Okay.
I hope you guys can sleep tonight.
Sorry. It goes to court with a Dover amendment. So. And the nice part is, it's gonna go to court, it's gonna win, so the Dover amendment applies here, it's educational, and this board has no ability to condition it now, so it's submitted, just the way they got it. All right, I'm pretty disgusted. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Are we doing the minutes and stuff?
We already did. Yep, I'll take care of that.
You say you have a